Hello and welcome to the Build With Baer Workshop. My name is Pat Bear and I'm here to build a model kit and hang out with all of you. I'm throwing the Bear Cave, the Lego, the site, the emote in the chat. If you're currently a subscriber, you can reply with those emotes. If you're not a subscriber, you can say hi. You can use other people's emotes. And if you don't feel like chatting, you don't have to. That is the secret of the stream, is that you don't have to be in the an active chat member if you don't want to. Mr. Hadel's here. Aristovan is here. Mr. Hadel is saying evening, Pat, and I'm saying evening back to you. Lashberg is here. Dirty is here. We got a great crew of wonderful folks here in the chat already. We're already off to a great start. We are, of course, hanging out. Lord Crashington is here too, saying hey, Pat, and okay, so your second half of your name is Thist, and the first name is I am me. Thist. I'm gonna say Thist. Sorry, I apologize. I don't know how to say your name, but welcome, hello to you. Um, so oftentimes usernames are something that somebody has written down, not expecting people to say out loud, and they haven't thought about that, or it is a reference to something, and they're just like, yeah, oh, sorry. Oh, so amethyst. Okay, amethyst. You have other letters in there, so AI am amethyst. Great. I'm gonna call you amethyst. Welcome, amethyst. Also, I should point out, not only is it sometimes that people make usernames that they're like, oh yeah, someone would have to read that. Often, I'm bad at pronouncing things, just in general. And sometimes I just look at words and go, or names specifically and go, wonder what that's supposed to be. We'll find out. And that's fine. Tonight, working on the Strike Noir Master Grade. This kit came out in the year 2007. It is an odd combination of some forward-thinking stuff that you would see in the future in Master Grades, and also some elements from the past. And by elements of the past, I mean specifically that it's got a couple of these very tiny screws. We already used two in the internal frame of the arms, where the arms come in here. And generally, if you see screws in a kit, that's meant to strengthen the kit. So, in general, you could say that's a good thing. That, okay, well, if you're putting screws in there in some of the joints, that means that the arms won't be dangling at the connection points. It'll be more stable. You would see that a lot in mid to late 90s kits. The G Gundam kits and the Gundam X kits had them because it was a way to try to make the frame more stable. And now in modern day, they do that by having better connections, because they've, one, done better with polycaps, and two, the way that plastics are snapped together make it so that those are less flimsy, because you're not relying on plastic into a polycap that is loose. So, 2007, you're going to still have these polycaps, which are pretty thick and not doing too great. Mr. Hedda says, wow, that's wild. How did the screws go in? Do they give you a tiny screwdriver? Do you not need one? So, they don't give you a tiny screwdriver, and you need one. So that's why I have this screwdriver here in my toolkit. We'll go to the overhead in a bit, but I have this little toolkit. This toolkit is some plastic and metal pieces meant for doing home repair on smartphones, but that works really well for my purposes here. And this screwdriver is a separate purchase. And I should probably get a tinier one. But the thing is, I'm generally not taking apart kits, so I don't need to worry about having a tinier screwdriver than this. But, you're not going to really see that like that. Yeah, than this. I'm not really worried about getting a tinier one. But a glasses case, or a glasses screwdriver, would probably also be beneficial. So I just have this for the instances where I use older kits. The early Perfect grades had screws, because that was very helpful for rigidity. Basically, when we get to the other ones, I'll show that. If we get to those today, I don't know where the other two are going to be. I assume they will be in, I don't know, maybe the waist, or they might be in the legs. because the other two were in the shoulders. But basically, I can't show it because I've already completed it. It's just a tightening. So it's just going to go into a hole that is probably a little too small for the screw, and we're going to bore it into it. It's not going to be like it's a hole, but it's not going to be like a I don't know the right term for it. Basically, we are forcing the screw in into the plastic and kind of cutting into the plastic using the treads of the screw um, uh, to make a very stable connection that hopefully won't pop out. Now, that does mean that it might be hard to remove that screw, which is good, except if you are trying to customize something or if you put it together wrong and you have to take it apart. So yeah, there are even kits that have like screws and then also have like nuts or washers, and that's for more master grades. We'll have stuff like that, but the plastic might have room for the little piece of metal to go in there. It's kind of annoying, and when I come across screws, I'm always like, ah, fuck. What 2007 feels late for that. 2001, late 90s, that feels more akin to that. So if you're buying old kits, then that is the thing to look out for. Uh, I'm gonna retweet my tweet. I'm gonna go overhead. We're gonna get started on this kit. I do want to say the very first kit I built on stream, my first stream making a model kit, I was like, I'm going back old school. I'm getting a kit from the X is the late 90s. I'm getting a kit from the late 90s. I'm gonna get the Gundam Double X. That's going to be fun. That's an old school kit. It's got rubber feet. That's a weird choice. The hands are rubber. That's weird. I'm going to get that. Forgot to look in the box that it had screws. Did not have a screwdriver on me because I was on location filming. Because in the early days I would rent a space in an office that I worked in because my internet was terrible and they had very good Wi-Fi, and also if I was in the right room, I'd have access to very good Ethernet. Like gigabyte Ethernet. So gigabit, whatever. Very good internet. So I showed up that day and I was like, oh, the first steps involve screws. So I had to jump to another thing. I was like, I'm going to work on a different part of this kit. And then the next time I stream, I'll have a screwdriver. Ugh. Very frustrating. Anyway, we got Strike Noir. We started on Saturday. We got a bunch of it done. We are going to move on to working on the backpack unit for this. Um, Basically, it's not a full backpack. It's just going to be like rockets on the Strike Noir. Also, just want to point out here that these are going to be dual pistols, and this kit has holsters for those pistols. If you can see below the red there on the photo, you can see these kind of like what are these color here? This gray. Those are dual pistols, and I think that is nonsense, and I enjoy that. I enjoy that about model kits with weapons that have like nonsense weapons like that. Like, give me a unusual beam weapon. I believe these beam weapons are beam katanas. They literally have they're not a beam saber. Hey, whoa, Bad Gunpla just raided with a party of 19. Welcome, raiders. Hello, everybody. You're just in time for the start of the stream. Thank you so much for the raid. Welcome, all you bad people. I don't think that's what you're called. I don't know the colloquial term for people who watch Bad Gunpla streams, but Bad Gunpla Squad. There you go. I assume you're not called bad people, because that sounds rude. Sounds real rude of me to say. It's like, hey, welcome, bad people. I hope you enjoy the stream. I also do hope you enjoy the stream. I was talking about how this is the Strike Noir. It's from the year 2007, and it has screws. We already put two in on a previous stream, but yeah, it's got tiny screws, which is, Bad People is a great name. Well, good. I'm glad you enjoy it. It's got tiny screws because it's an old, weird kit. We are chat goblins sometimes. There you go. Yeah, I don't know why this. I do know why it has screws. It's for stability because they were still experimenting. But you think at a certain point they would have realized that it's bad. It's just bad. Like, it does increase rigidity, which is great because nobody likes a kit where you move the arm up and then it flops back down. Nobody likes a floppy arm model kit on your model kit, but uh, there's definitely got to be a better way. There has to be a better way than just like a weird kit, like just like needing to have a screwdriver to build a model kit. You're Chatthew. Okay, well, welcome, Chatthew. Happy to have you here. Um, you're in the bear cave. Welcome. I hope I hope you have fun. I hope you hang out for a bit. Uh, okay. You know what? I don't know you. Maybe you do like kits that can't hold their weapons because the wrists just literally fall out of kits, and you have to get blue tack in order to make it so that it can hold a gun, or have a stand just for the big weapon, which is the downside of getting a kit with a giant weapon is that you can't do that. It just doesn't work. All right, so that's going to be 7, and that's going to be 8. Working on the backpack of this kit. Going to try to get these out without, yeah, get that nub in there. Trying to avoid nubbins if at all possible, without also having to get a file out. If you're new to the stream, this is a thing to know about me. I like building model kits. I like doing quick and dirty, easy to do panel lining. I don't sit here with a file and file things down. I don't worry about that. I don't, I don't have sandpaper here for anything. I'm not making big cuts on here with not bolt cutters, but like wire cutters, and then making incredibly detailed cuts with an X-Acto knife. If that is your thing, or if that's the kind of streamer you like, that's awesome. I'm totally psyched that there are people out there that do that. And in your home builds, look, if I still did home builds, because I build model kits 6 hours a week on stream, if I still did home builds, I would take my time with those things. I would really, really focus with 2 pairs of tweezers on applying stickers, and I would have my put the parts in there, and I would like be incredibly detailed. But for the purposes of doing these streams, I want to build the kit, and I want to talk about the kit as I build it. I want to have like the good moments with the kit and the moments where I'm like, why is this like this? What is it supposed to be, and why am I not doing it right? I want to have all those moments. Um, but I'm not here to file things down. After streams, I do clean up stuff. I do clean up some of my panel lining that might have been a little, that was a little too quick and a little too messy. I will certainly do that. I will go in and do that. Like uh, filing some stuff down, sanding some stuff down. It's art. There's no wrong way to do it. I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah, but really, the purpose of the build portion of this stream is to expose people who are not who don't know a lot about the hobby, the world of Plamo, of Gunpla. That's always fun, and I appreciate that I have some ability to do that. And for people that know a lot about it, it's to like check out kits maybe they haven't built before, or like old kits, weird kits, new kits that I happen to manage to get a pre-order on and got in relatively at a good time. Um, Pat teach me I've never built before. Well, there you go. But like, yeah, it's to encourage people that are interested in the hobby. It is to entertain people. Also, there are people who hang out in here who model kit building is not something they're ever going to be into, but they are into hanging out. And the community here is very nice. So we do have people who are just like, hey, I'm pretty interested when you build Lego, and I know a little bit about Gundam, but like, I don't know, it's nice here. And believe me, while that is intentional, it was a beautiful thing that happened. While that was certainly my intent, was to build a nice little community here of cool folks. I'm grateful that it happened. I will say that if this was a bad time, I wouldn't do it. I guess is the easiest way to say that. Probably shorter, but this is a good time, so I enjoy continuing it. I would have given this up probably like a year in if I was like, oh man, my chat sucks. They're real rude. I was about to say they're real weird and rude, and it's like I don't mind that they're weird because you are, because I am too. Why is this not lining up right? Hmm. There is a good way to do this, and I haven't figured it out yet. That goes in weird. Strange. Goes in strange. Anyway, I got a few things to talk about on stream tonight. I am going to give you my no spoilers involved review of Deathloop, as I have completed Deathloop. I completed the loops, and now I'm going in and doing a different style of play. And let me tell you, um, if you ever felt like you were being punished in like certain arcane games for not doing it the way you want, like they really wanted you to, um, then I would say this game might be for you, because it does feel more like Hitman than Dishonored. Um, hey, you have a good night too. Thanks for hanging out in chat. Appreciate it. Why is this? So I'm going to look closer in this. Do a lot of old MGs have screws in them? Not all of them, but enough of them do. There was a period in the like late 90s into the early 2000s where you were going to find those, because that was them trying to solve a problem. Also, this is a kit for 2007, which means that it does not have any what doesn't have, it has some English, but like this section here, these would be English words in 2013. They are not English words, and I get why they're not, and I'm not mad that they're not, but I am annoyed that I'm like trying to figure out why I can't, like I'm like, why isn't this not lining up right? And the answer is because there's some direction that I don't have. All right, I got the bottom one in at least, so I can put the bottom part of these rockets in here. Yep, that's snapped in, and that looks good. And then we're going to hit that with a little brown marker just to let the red pop. So now I'm looking at this, and all right, so this needs to be up, and then this needs to... Gonna go in right? Nope. Or the other way. Am I gonna go in? Nope. Anyway, yeah, so Deathloop. Deathloop does feel like there's some Hitman in it, and it's not as punishing as I was afraid it was going to be. It does allow you to kind of play how you want. I approached it a lot of try to be as stealthy as possible until you can't anymore. Whereas in like Dishonored, I would play it stealthy until I messed up and then try to keep playing it stealthy. Or like the last Metal Gear. The last Metal Gear game, you could play it stealthy until that didn't work, or you could be like, I don't want to try to play the stealthy anymore at all, because there were different play styles. I need to play some more of it. There are too many video games I'm trying to play currently. I hear you, Last Rook, totally. This just became the game that I was like, this is the one I'm going to keep banging my head against, try to like keep going with it. And now that I've played it and beaten it, I am doing a different playthrough, which is much sillier. My new playthrough is nonsense. I got inspired by a video from Donkey, who let's say, Donkey's videos, YouTube videos, I think are very funny. I think sometimes Donkey's choice of words are hurtful when they are not meant to hurt a person. It is that kind of hurtful words that come out of someone's mouth who don't understand that those words aren't just insults. They are like direct insults out of people. I think that he is often guilty of that. Buyer beware on that. But in general, I think that his content is funny, with certain caveats, obviously. But he did a video where he's just kicking people. He's just kicking people. He was using the power that you can like tie people to an object, but he was tying two people together and then kicking one off the thing, and then the other person would fall. And it was very funny. And I was like, wait, I could just, yeah, let's just do that. I'm gonna go guns blazing and feet blazing and have a real good silly time in this game. Uh, Blaring, she blinded you with science while sprinting around the desert in MGS5. Indeed, Lord Grashington, because you could just do that. You could just be like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to use the rocket fist to punch people, and that's a play style. That is I think like a totally reasonable play style. And in this game, like, yeah, you can play it as just like somebody who's just like, I'm going to make people know that I'm the person that's going to take them down. I'm going to use the power to swap myself with something or someone, and in which case I will swap someone at a high point, and their AI will just have them fall and die. Like that is just like you can just do that with some people, especially if they don't have weapons. You catch them off guard, and you can just play it that way if you wanted to. It is much more versatile than just like sneak around. I do think sometimes there are too many fucking enemies because sometimes I don't think I think the game is making choices instead of that there are rules that they follow. I think sometimes when you make a little bit of noise inside a building and people outside the building hear it, I think that's like, okay, that's not obeying the rules of the game. That's the game making a decision that that's what's going to happen right there instead of being like, well, when this happens, this happens. It's just like, no, if you make a noise in this big building, then you're just going to get everyone in there because you're supposed to be stealthy. I don't appreciate that part. Um, and sometimes I don't want to be stealthy. So after you finish, you can keep playing the game with all your stuff, or do you start all over again? So I'm going to be honest with the Wrist fan. I don't actually know. I haven't loaded my last thing. I started a new game. So I don't know. I will let you know when I'm in the future. I will let you know that. But I actually didn't even try to see. I just finished the game and then I was like, I'm starting a new save and I'm going to see what happens. Uh, you might this is a thing that like is very cool that they're like, hey, here's information about the mobile suit and all that. I want to say I heard you can keep going. I think Vinny said you can keep playing as he wanted to get stuff he missed. Yeah, so that's what that. I just started a new game because I was like, I want to do a completely different build and try a different play style, which is more run and gun and kick, a little bit more of kick loop. So yeah, so this page looks like, oh, here's like a stuff about the head and here's stuff about like the arms and like, okay, that's neat. This is all cool shit. But really, this is a weird page because it's just like, here's the page on how to build the head. This is the little piece here. The rest is all just like flavor. It's like flavor text, but in my instruction manual. Um, anyway, now folks that haven't been to the stream before, you get to see me apply stickers because we're going to be building the head here. Uh, and that's sometimes very fun and often not fun at all. Master grades sticker application usually not too big a deal, but the head you're dealing with small little pieces. So we'll get some of this built and then we'll try to figure that out too. I often like to get some of the head completed before I start applying stickers because the eye stickers, like in some instances, I would put the eye sticker on right now, but instead I'm going to wait until I get some of the components put together here before I do that, so that I can make sure that I'm putting the eye sticker on in the right spots, so that I don't really screw things up. Because I will do that. I will just mess up stickers. I do think it is fantastic that these stickers work, considering how old they are. The fact that I've built a kit that came out in the year 2001. It was not a reissue. It was literally a kit from 2001, and the stickers worked fine. I'm just like, that's pretty great. Because sometimes you will get a kit that's like, it has a number on there, but it was sold later. I built a kit here, the Verka 2 of the Crossbone. I bought in the year 2020 to pre-order it for 2021. It's a kit from like 2013. They just made more of them and sold them. Um, uh, let's see. This kit, man, this kit I loved, but there's at least 3 parts you want to glue on it. Yes, Asabi, that I have liquid cement at the ready in case like things start getting real wobbly on this kit. Oh shit, it's not a reprint and it did work. Yeah. The effing jewel on the barrels of the pistols. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I mean like we'll play around with stuff, but I do a liquid cement, and if like these little pieces here don't want to stay on, then a little dab will do you. Um, but yeah, it is those are the only problematic areas. Well, that's good to know. I don't actually my liquid cement I actually would have to get up to get, but I will for for next stream I'll have it within arm's reach. I keep it away from me because it's a chemical. And yeah, it's got a lid on it, but when I open it, it still smells, and I want to keep it as far away from me in my day to day because I don't want to knock it over. You know, because it does have a stink to it. Um, but it is helpful. I also have blue tack in for kind of shoving and stuff to make sure that works. Okay, so this is gonna go on here. We gotta get our face on. Of course, we will hit that with a marker to make it look lovely. And then that does leave a place for our eyes to go once we include this part here. Oops. Is going to be, this sticks out. Great. That doesn't really want to stay. So that's where the eyes are going to go. There, and then that's going to go up. This is like doesn't want to stay on, so I do want to do the eyes before we connect everything. But yeah, that doesn't really want to stay on. Oh, because I was doing it. Was I doing it backwards? Look at that. No, it's not backwards. Huh. What's going on here? All right. That goes on there. Okay, I got it on. All right, so let's put the eye stickers on. Let's put the front camera sticker on. And again, we're working with some small friends here. And of course, this is the year where you're not going to have like I'm not getting like 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm getting symbols, which I can then cross-reference to make sure I'm doing the right thing. So we need that, and that's going to go hold over it, okay? And then the eye sticker is going to be that there. All right. I know what the eye sticker looks like, so we'll do that first. Actually, scratch that. Add 8 more parts to that count. The 8 yellow sections that go on the shoulders, they can be loose. Sazabi, that's great to know. I mean, we'll try them as is, but if we run into a problem, we'll deal with that later. All right, so I am trying to push away from the sticker so that I can then get in underneath it and pull it up, because I can also come in from the side here. But my goal always is to make sure that I am not stabbing the sticker while trying to separate it from the paper, which I've certainly done before. For a bigger sticker like this, it's not going to be too bad. But for tiny stickers, that is definitely sometimes a cause for concern, that I might be like ripping into it, tearing it, or folding it in on itself, which I've certainly done before with stickers, where I'm just like, oh, well, this sticker is useless now because now it is folded in half. All right, so applying stickers carefully. We're going to try to apply it with it connected to the face here so that we get a good line on it. That did not work. I'll tell you right now, this is kind of annoying. this to line up properly. Yeah, like that. Then I can get the eyes on there. Sometimes you need 3 hands, and I don't have there's equipment that you can get that will, hold these things for applications of stickers and the like. I don't have that equipment, so I just do the best I can. And sometimes when the head is completely connected, you can just go back in and try to drag the eyes into the right spot. We'll try to get that on here. The wings are super solid. Oh, that's good to hear. I wanted to look. I'm not involved in this conference at all. The expo, the Game Developers of Color Expo, is this coming weekend. I in the past have done a volunteer for them. I volunteered for when they were in person. It will be a virtual event with sliding scale tickets, certainly to encourage developers and aspiring developers of color in the Black, Indigenous, and the peoples of color community to attend. So if you can't afford it, whatever the tickets are priced, or one for the 2-day event, please do. But it is totally worth your time and energy. It is a lovely community of folks, really, really dedicated to giving a voice to people, to paying presenters, which is very rare. And of course, when they're in person, there would be ways to get people there to fundraise to get presenters into New York. It's a lovely conference. Sometimes harsh truths, sometimes very entertaining, and sometimes incredibly inspiring. I was a chat moderator for last year's virtual event. And it was very fun because the community, like in between speakers, there were a lot of messages like, "Hey, get up and stretch. There's 5 minutes." Like, "Hey, people, take your meds if you haven't. This is your reminder. If you've been sitting there all day, get a drink of water." Like, it was just a very like welcoming community of people being like, "Hey, what does anybody know the link to this person's like uh, itch store?" Or like, "Oh, hey, I just wish list the game this person's talking about." It was just like incredibly positive, lovely chat. So that's the Game Developers of Color Expo, the GD lowercase o c Expo, and it's fantastic. I highly recommend it. Yeah, it'll be this weekend, so check it out. I'm telling you, it'll be a good time. All right, so we got our 2 stickers on. We'll have to probably do a little fudging of it, but let's get this into the face, the front of the face. We'll need E9 and J1. Get J1 in first. That's here, which is, I believe, just like a panel to kind of keep everything together, which is weird, but sure. Pretty much never move unless you want them or to force them via shaking it. Okay, well, that's good. That's good to hear, says Avi. Let's see. This is a small thing I want to talk to you all about. There's a rumor, and it's been reported on a couple different places. As I said, not an announcement, a rumor, unless an announcement did come out, but I don't believe it did. Rumors and speculation at this point that David Cage and specifically Quantic Dreams are going to make a Star Wars game. That sounds bad. Look, I'm not saying that their game engines, their games like don't play well. I'm saying that company is, depending on where in the French court system the cases are, seems like uh, a bad place to work, a terrible, awful place to work, allegedly. definitively, allegedly, depending on where in the legal court systems they are in France. Um, but it seems like a nightmare, and I can't speak directly to employees of said company and David Cage. I can talk about how he apparently, when people were saying like, "Hey, here's things that you've said in emails in your company," he's responded basically just like hiding behind people that have worked for him, that have done great works, as if that clears him. It's like, well, a person that worked here is great in this field, so how can I be racist? And you're like, because that's not how it works. Because that doesn't, because it's insidious. Because racism is insidious, not like just like big, cigar chomping racism. It's a lot of like prejudices that you are never going to examine in your own life, kind of deal. Uh, and then also, I don't think that that company makes good video games. I just don't think they make good video games. So I don't think they're gonna make a good Star Wars game. Maybe it'll like functionally play well. Maybe it'll like have like some interesting things in the story, but like I don't fucking know. I don't think they're gonna make a video game that people are gonna be like, fuck yeah, this is my favorite. Like I'm sure they'll make somebody's favorite Star Wars game, but not like a lot of people's favorite Star Wars game, if that makes sense. But like a couple people will be like, yeah, that's oh yeah, oh yeah, that one? Yeah, that's my favorite Star Wars. So it's kind of bummer news, I would say. I was mostly just thinking it was bummer. Uh, Best way to deal with racism is to know your enemy. Well, so to me anyway, the one is internal dialogues, and looking at yourself and examining yourself is incredibly important and incredibly difficult. Um, it's also important to uh, it's also really important to listen to people when they tell you about behaviors, because there is a like look, the only thing worse than racism to some people is being accused of being racist. Being accused of being racist is one of the worst things that can happen to you. To some people, to some people, that's the worst thing, because by saying, "Hey, this is racist behavior," or you've had some internalized racism in that like, or hey, just so you know, this thing that you think is fine is steeped in historical racism or cultural racism. Being told that requires people, at best case scenario, to go, "Oh, fuck, I got to think about that." Like, hey, there's a bunch of terms for being ripped off that we use often in our lives that we don't even think about. Like, oh yeah, a bunch of these terms that I'm using right now to describe being ripped off relate to a people, a race, or a religion, or an ethnic group of people. And these terms that I'm using, I've been like, oh, I got ripped off here. I'm going to use a word and not even think about the reason why I'm using that word is because people were blaming those folks for when things didn't go right for them. And so it's like insidious and it's internalized. And it's like, you can say, like, and then when you're like, hey, just so you know, that word you're using really makes people sad. The hopeful response is, ah, fuck. Okay, well, I'm going to drill that word out of my head. I didn't know that. Is there a Wikipedia article I could read about that, or whatever? Uh, but a lot of times the gut response to that is, Well, I don't mean any harm. I just the word I use. Um, yeah, most people are thinking of the, well, I don't push people down. I don't like, and it's like I don't do that stuff. I'm not like mean. I smile and wave. Like I'm nice to people. I'm not like that. But it's like, well, that's not what it is. It's a lot of things, and it's a hard thing to uh like it's a a very hard thing to just go like, well, I figured it out and I'm not the problem, so everything is cool. Why are you mad at me? All I'm doing is what I have been expected of me. um yeah, yeah, and some of it is explicit, some of it is on purpose explicit, some of it is downright hurtful and hateful and in your face, and because they want you to know what they think of you. Sure, that's out there. That's big R racism, but a lot of small R racism is like, that's what we're talking about when we're talking about Aquatic Dreams and like Detroit Beyond Human. Detroit Beyond Human is in many ways small R racism because it's saying, hey, we want to talk about like robot freedom and like robotic freedom. What's the best way to tell this story? I know. Let's compare these robots to slavery in America. Let's directly compare those two things. That's a great comparison for us to make in this. And it's like, is it? Is it? Like, that's this, like, oh, we're doing something progressive and interesting, and we're making an allegory, and we're going to have people think. And you're like, are you? Or are you taking people's real experiences in order to make a video game? So beyond the fact that like I don't think the games are fun to play in many instances. Like you know, uh, I think Heavy Rain is kind of fun in some parts, kind of interesting. It's worth a lot of criticism. I think its criticism is valid, but I think some parts of it are fine. Uh, well, yeah, like Detroit. Like people were like, "Oh, that was one of the best stories that year," and it's just like, I mean, what game are you playing? I mean, everyone's entitled to their weirdo opinions, but sometimes it's just like, I don't know. I don't know. All right, we're gonna get this together. I didn't. I mostly wanted to dunk on David Cage in this, um, and again to say that depending on where we are in lawsuits and where they are in judges that have overturned things or upheld things, that company seems to be full of bullshit and sucks to be there. Um, Seems to have an awful culture from the very top on down. But wow, this face does not want to stay in place. All right, so we're going to pop this back piece off that's supposed to keep things together. All right, we're going to pop this off here. Got the. At some point, we'll be done with the head, and I'll be very grateful. Anyway, I'm going to switch. I'm going to stop talking shit about warranted, valid shit about David Cage. Thank you for the follow, Squeal Mouse. Uh, I'm gonna move away from that. There are other look. I would say just put Detroit Human Paste. Paste Magazine, I'm sure, has a great article about Detroit Become Human. Like, I don't even know if they do, but I bet they do, because that's where you go to read good shit like that from people who are fucking smarter than me. Uh, so yeah, I would say I don't know if Paste, like honestly, I don't know if Paste Magazine did an article about it, did a write up about it, but I'm sure you can find some better critique of it than what you're going to get from your friend Pat. Uh, but because I'm just not full of uh, nuance. I'm definitely your friend. Your friend Pat has opinions and thoughts, but I don't always have like essays in the back of my head, you know. But one might describe me as a person that has lots of big moods. Uh, certainly. But yeah, I mean, these are good things to talk about. Sometimes we get into that shit here. Uh, a Dengar and Boba Fett buddy story in the vein of Detroit Become Human. Huh. Yeah, I mean, there might be something in there. You are speaking of a bad company. Is definitely is not the worst company though. Look, here's the thing. I honestly like Bank of America is the worst like video game companies. Obviously, we're talking about Electronic Arts gets a lot of shit, and I think it's warranted. But like, I don't know. I think people say the Electronic Arts is a terrible company because they don't like the video games that Electronic Arts makes. I don't think they like the games. Uh, yeah, they got rated worst company because they stopped making video games that people like, and they kept pumping out quote unquote bad versions of the games people liked. Uh, yes, Bank of America totally does. Um, but to me, like I don't know. Like I'm, I don't mind people like, fine, let's please be mad at Electronic Arts, want better from them. But I was always just like, that seems to be nonsense. Counterpoint: Activision Blizzard's rampant corruption and sheltering of sexist pigs. Yes, very much so. Uh, yes, there's working conditions at EA. Um, in many a big part of the culture is terrible, and I'll agree with that certainly. Um, uh, but it is the thing where like also Electronic Arts high employee retention rate, which to me is a sign of bad things across the industry because it's like, well, it's terrible to work here, but you can, like there is like you can get better pay over time, and they do promote from within, uh, but well, yeah, people do stay working there more than they do in companies comparatively to its size, which is definitely a mark on the entire industry. Um, I think in the second hour of the stream, because we're going to take a pause for the cause in a bit, I'm going to try to finish this head, and then we're almost done with the head here. And then we'll talk about ways you can support the channel, and we'll get into all that. And the second hour, we're going to talk about anime and manga, because there's not a lot to talk about with anime, because there was the last episode of one show that I've been watching, and then I've watched like 5 episodes of another thing. And I'll kind of give you the like not piecemeal, but the overview because I don't think I'm going to finish it, but I was kind of watching it. This is like the end of I was waiting for a new kit still, the Ava Mark 6. Okay, yeah, they got real great. Yeah. I have a friend that took incredibly detailed photos to send me of all of the real great Avas that they have put together. They're absolutely loving them. Those seem to be pretty damn great, real greats. I haven't built one myself, can't comment from my own, but yeah, seem to really enjoy those. Yeah, we'll talk about those in the second hour about some anime and some manga some stuff that I'm reading. Um, because yeah, we're at the point now where my shows are wrapping up. The last episode of the season for me is this Saturday. Will be the 13th episode of How a Realist Hero Rebuilt the Kingdom, which is what I think the only show that has 13 episodes this season because it's a lot of 12 episodes. So they're wrapping up like now. Most of them are wrapping up this week, which is good because it's almost the new season. And I will be on Wednesday. My Wednesday stream will be Pat Bear's Anime Club, which is going to be the wrap up for this season, the summer anime season, and the preview for the fall season. So I'll be talking about the shows that I've been watching and the shows I chose not to watch or I stopped watching, and then I'll be talking about one I'm excited about, and one I'm like, not for me, about next season, because there will be a lot to talk about, I'm sure. And we are almost done with this head, and then we'll take a brief, ad break, quote unquote. The Ava Mark 6 is the most different with the longer, taller torso and thighs. Yes, I do remember that. I do remember that from my knowledge of Ava, that it is the one that like isn't just like slightly different or like a repaint. That it is, a different beast or a different angel. Yes. All right, got a little bit of red here to put on. A lot of good red accents on this kit. The Noir, considering that it is a like light gray, dark gray kit, like really focused on the different tones of gray. It is really nice that it has um, so many red accents. I think that is great. Really, I think it really does tie it together. There's like gold and red on the top. Also, the fact that the crown here isn't just gold; it's also gray. That's a really lovely touch. Yeah, I'm into the colors on this kit. It's got some weird elements to it, but I like those. Uh, I understand. Oh, it's got the red spear. Yeah, Lastbrook. Hey, look, I'm not here to ask you. I'm not here to tell you. You got to know all the different marks. Yeah, or know anything. Well, also, I guess I should say, you don't have to know anything about Evangelion. It's cool. I am not. That is not required knowledge base on for a Pat Bear stream. I don't know why it ever would be. I don't really reference it that much. I literally reference uh like Dual more than I reference Evangelion because it's very funny to talk about dual parallel world or parallel worlds, parallel minds. I can't remember the extension on that, but yeah, talking about dual is way more fun for me because it's the Tenchi Muyo guy doing his Evangelion, and it's not good, but it's also great. Big fan. I don't like the real build designs that much. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of it. I haven't watched all of the rebuilds, but because I don't want to. But I'm not necessarily loving all of it. All right, so we got to put a little black here on this gray, and then kind of perk it up a little bit here. But yeah, find Dual. I don't think you can watch it legally anywhere. I think you can find like the dub on YouTube. I bet you can find maybe you can find the subtitles on YouTube, but yeah, I don't think you're going to be able to find the whole thing on anything. I'm definitely not streaming. I don't think anybody has the rights. Maybe Retro Crush has the rights to do all. I don't know. Hard. Sometimes it's hard to find stuff because .moe isn't being updated anymore. The website because.moe was a great thing because they crawled all of the streaming services so that you could just type in like several countries. You could just type in the show and it would tell you where it was. But a bunch of those streaming services, like Hulu specifically, and Funimation did this as well, changed their APIs so that it wasn't easy to update anymore. So that website, is basically an abandoned project. You can still use it. It's just that I can't guarantee that everything that's in there is up to date, but it is a good starting point. Also, like Decider, which is meant for streaming, one of the areas they are least interested in writing articles about is anime. They're really focused more on like, like not premium, but like prestige stuff or weird nonsense. But they don't really have like dedicated people talking about anime. Because if you type in like anime stuff on Decider, you're looking for anime stuff on Decider, you're often going to find an article about Detective Conan that refers to me. That's just a fun thing that happens. There was an episode of one of the top results for Dual Parallel Trouble Adventure stream is your tweet about it, hell yeah, that is the algorithm saying the thing that you're looking for, Lashbrook, is me. I don't know if that would work in incognito, but I love that. That was right. It was Parallel Trouble Adventure. That's a nonsense title. Um, anyway, I've talked about this on the stream before. We're gonna do a pause for the cause and talk about ways you can support the channel in a moment. But I do want to say real quick. So there's a TV series, reality show set in Japan that is subtitled on Netflix, several seasons of it, called Terrace House. It is like young Japanese people hanging out and dating and living their lives. Sometimes the seasons are very compelling. Oftentimes they're just sweet and nice. Um, there was a young man that asked a girl, "Do you want to go to the movies with me?" And she was like, "Okay." And he was like, "Great. I really want someone to come to me to see the latest Detective Conan movie." And she's laughed and she's embarrassed. And they're like, "Really? You're going to take a girl to that movie?" And so my friend Brett wrote an article describing that and why that was funny and silly, and then a little bit about Detective Conan / Case Closed and where you can stream it, because Brett wanted to write an article that had something to do with Terrace House. Uh, and so I am Brett's anime expert. I'm not an anime expert. I am his anime expert, which is a very funny, specific. But it is true. He did text me, and I was like, I bet this is for an article, because if he wanted to know about anime, I would be the person he asked. Which is like, yeah, in the same way that if I was the person he reached out to when there was a professional wrestler was on Terrace House, and not going to get into that particularly because that has a sad, very sad, tragic ending. But I also was the person that was like, "Hey, do you know who this wrestler is?" So I got to explain Joshi professional wrestling, the concept of women's focused promotions in Japan, to my friend Brett, and that was a fun conversation for me. Um, but yeah, okay. So I'm doing a pause for the cause. You might not know what that is because we have some new friends here. We got some old friends here. Um, what's happening right now? I'm going to talk to you about ways you can support the channel. You don't have to. The big thing about all these ways I'm going to talk about supporting me here, they're optional. You don't have to do any of this. If you'd like to, that would be great. If you don't want to, you don't have to. It'll be a couple minutes. The only break I take during the stream. Just going to sell myself a little bit here. Like Dirty, if you're currently a subscriber, you can throw the Bear Cave, the Lego, the site, the moat in the chat. I would appreciate that very much. That is a way to support what I do here, is becoming a subscriber. Hey, new subscriptions are on sale right now. You can save like $1, right? Like $1 on subscriptions. If you have been gifted a sub, you can convert that into a regular subscription, save money. You can use your Prime Gaming token, of course, and also, if you got a gifted sub and you want to convert it to the real one, they won't charge you until your gifted sub is over, and they will charge you the discounted rate, I believe, because it's September, so subs are on sale. Thanks, Grubhub. I don't have to say that, but I will. Gifting somebody a sub will be a great way to support what I do here. If you don't feel like doing it for yourself, but you want to help out somebody in the community so they don't see ads before they click on the stream, they get cool emotes. They get an emote of me as a Lego person, me as a death site that they're a tier 2, and the Bear Cave, which is you're all in. You're all here in the Bear Cave. That is an easy way to support what I do. There are other ways. I also have a Patreon, because why wouldn't? I mean, there are reasons not to have a Patreon, and I cannot get into them now. I don't want this to be a diatribe about how Patreon sucks. They do, but I'm still there because it's convenient and easy for people to support me on Patreon. Patreon.com/PatBear. $1, $3, $5, and $10 tiers over there. Different rewards for the different tiers. Doing my best. Over there. Also, you could subscribe to my YouTube channel where I upload videos all the time. Every other Monday and every Wednesday, I upload a video there of a variety of things. YouTube.com/PatBear. You can subscribe for free. You could join for $2, and you get my Wednesday videos you get on Tuesday. So tomorrow, you'll get the video that I'm going to be posting for everybody on Wednesday. and I'll talk more about that in a second. But yeah, that's a thing you could do if you wanted to. We got that. We got that. We got that. What else? Oh, just hey, if monthly isn't up to your thing, you don't want, you're not interested in doing monthly. You want to do a one-time donation. Here's ways you could do that. I've got PayPal. I've got Coffee. I've got Streamlabs, and you could donate through those, and that would be another way. Because everything I make through those direct donations and Patreon and Twitch and AdSense and memberships on Google or YouTube goes to buying model kits. Because as you know, once I'm done building a model kit, I'm done building that model kit, and then I got to keep buying model kits. It's a process that continues. It's a never-ending cycle of buying kits and building kits. I have an Amazon wish list, and I will shoot a video. If you buy something from this, I will shoot a video about the thing that you just bought, which is, saying, hey, this person bought it. You could also buy something anonymously. And also, I've got a backlog of like 3 high grades right now. I won't build any of those. If you buy something, those will wait, and I'll build the thing you bought first. Basically, as soon as this kit is over, if something is coming from my wish list, that gets priority. I've got Lego sets. I've got high grades, master grades on there, inexpensive kits, high grades that are for some reason $40. I don't think you should spend $40 on a high grade kit, but that's the price of it for some reason. I don't know why. The Gundam Sage Type BF is $22 plus $22 plus $22 shipping. I don't know why that is. Someday it'll be cheaper, and I might just buy it myself. But anyway, I got some equipment on there. I got a 500 gigabyte SATA drive on there, an SSD, because I would like to add a new SSD. So I put that on there, and that's dropped in price a little bit, which is nice. But yeah, I put some equipment on the bottom there. All of that's optional. You certainly don't have to do that. Scalpers, yes, totally. Yes, I also speaking of USA Gundam Store, so I can't do a wish list there. I would love that if I could set up a wish list in a store where they knew my address and you could buy something and then it would get sent to me. That would be incredible. Unfortunately we do not have that as an option. But here is an alternative to Amazon. Is you could buy a gift card for USA Gundam Store. You buy a gift card from their website and they send you an email with that gift card code, and then you could DM me on Twitter with that code, because my DMs are open, or send me a Discord message or a whisper here on Twitch with that code. Unfortunately, that is the only alternative I have to Amazon, which is just unfortunately the most convenient thing, even if the prices are bad. But that is an alternative that I came up with because it's nice to have alternatives. And the same way, if you buy me a gift card, I'll buy something. I won't pre-order because that will take too long. I'll buy something in stock, and then I will build it on stream and still make a video. Speaking of my Discord, I do have a Discord. We'll get back to building in just a second. I got a Discord here. Here's the link. It's nice. It's a real quiet Discord. Sometimes there aren't any posts during your day. Sometimes people post stuff they're working on, photos of model kits and Lego sets. I post build photos of what I've built on stream after every stream. It's a nice little community. It is probably not like, it's not going to blow up your phone. But it's nice people. I like having that Discord. It is nice to have. A couple video links, then we'll get back to building. Told you it wouldn't take too long. Pat Bear's Anime Club, as I said on Wednesday, I'm recording a new one with an audience on Twitch, but this is the last one I did. This is a storytelling video. If you want to hear about what it was like working at an anime import store, a place that sold fan sub VHSs and legit model kits and bootleg CD, like soundtracks and all kinds of different stuff, this is just me talking about my experience working a year plus in a mall that sold anime shit in the early 2000s. It was a formative experience, and it was my entry point into like really getting into model kits, and a really fun time. And I just kind of like, it's a video of me just talking about that. It's story time. Best of Build With Baer is, if you ever see something funny in the stream, hit that clip that button. Hit the clip it button. So I know I also remember moments in the streams I think are fun, and I pull those out, and those become the best of Build With Baer clips. Um, those come out every Wednesday, so I'll have a new one. This was the most recent one, and it was just me talking about trash and how not all trash is bad. Trash can be okay. Um, so yeah, so that is that little video, and I'll have a new one up, and my $5 and $10 Patreon patrons and my $2 YouTube supporters will get that video tomorrow. They'll see the new one early. Anyway, we're going to talk about some anime, then we're going to talk about some manga. We're going to get back to model kit building. I'm going to drink some water because I need it. I've just been talking, since 9 p.m. Eastern. So let's start with anime, and then we'll jump back to talking about manga. Uh, and we'll start the arms, which we can do double time of. So this was episode 12 of, I believe, 12. I'm gonna actually. Ooh, I just realized there might be 13 episodes, or this might be a double length, but I don't think it is. I mean, I'll find out. But let me go to anime chart here of Seirei Gensouki Spirit Chronicles. Let me just really quick check to see if that is G is this one. No, what happened here? Where is it? Where is Spirit Chronicles? Did it? Okay, Seirei Gensouki Spirit Chronicles. According to Annie chart, that was 12 episodes. They end on a big cliffhanger. I don't know if this is going to get a second season, but if it doesn't, they swung hard, and I might read this manga. I don't know if I'm going to, but I was like, I kind of want to know what happens next. Maybe I'll have to read the light novels. I don't know, because, like, shit happened. Um, Basically, the plot of this story is, hey, there's a dude. Uh, his name is Rio. He's had a rough life. He's in the slums right now. Uh, we find out later that that is because his father was an adventurer and was killed, and then his mother was murdered in front of Rio. And he lives in the slums, and he is helping people steal to survive and reliving an incredibly rough life. And just praying someday he'll get old enough to exact revenge because he knows who killed his mother. Uh, Also, Rio is a reincarnation of a dude named Haruto, who was a Japanese student who had his own stuff going on. He didn't necessarily have that tragic of a backstory, but he did have like unfinished business in that when he was a child, his childhood friend moved away, and he said, "Hey, just so you know, someday we'll be reunited, and then I'll be able to take care of you in the future. I can't do it now, but just wait for me." And then he never saw her again. Uh, or he did briefly, and he figured, oh, she like abandoned me and forgot about me. And then he died. So that's kind of like his unfinished business. A thing that I think is really interesting about the show is uh, Rio still thinks of himself as Rio, which is not always true for reincarnation stories where you suddenly remember that you were another person. Often the reincarnated person from like Japan becomes the dominant personality, as it's almost as if the other person didn't exist, or just their background memories are just there to like help the person like know what's going on in the world, have like some common sense. In this story, Rio is still Rio. He just has memories, like he knows how to use like a sword because Haruto was on like the kendo, whatever, like studied, so he understands some martial arts because of that. Uh, Also, we found out later there's a spirit living inside of him named Aisha, uh, and don't know what's that. We don't quite know what happened there. She's been dormant, and then she like came out to say hi. Uh, a lot of shit happened with Rio. He's the grandson of a princess, turns out, or he's grandson of the king and queen of a neighboring country, because his mom ran away with permission. Basically ran away. He has a cousin he didn't know about. He's got a quote unquote a little sister, like an adopted little sister, that is also a reincarnation of a girl that was riding the same bus that Haruto was on when Haruto died, and she was like young, and she like always they rode the same bus, they had the same schedule, and she always like wanted to talk to him because he seemed like a cool older brother type. Uh, his fate is fucking weird. Anyway, the first person that was really nice to him is Celia, who was his teacher, and she's getting forced. She's forced to be married a dude. She's gonna marry a shitty dude that we know is shit. We know that this guy sucks ass, and that this marriage is not. This marriage is a political marriage of convenience, and she is gonna be miserable for the rest of her life because she's also like not even the first bride. She's like the seventh bride, and it's gonna be fucking rough for her. So Rio kidnaps her, talks to her via communications, is like, hey, I'm going to break up this marriage. Like, you're not going to get married. And so he's like, okay, it's time to escape. Also, just kicks the shit out of the dude that's going to marry her, who he has a personal history with, and then like knocks him down by kicking him, and then stands on him with his foot on the dude's spine, and it's just like, I mean, I could just break your spine right now, and really humiliates this dude on his wedding day, which is great. It is a good bit of business. Rio escapes. He has his spirit friend help them escape. He doesn't want to kill anybody because they're just soldiers. They're not, whatever. That comes to the test when he has to fight this guy named Alfred, who is the King's Sword and is the strongest person we've seen so far that is not Rio. And Rio like basically doesn't take him out. Instead, he has to like flee in the confusion, which is interesting. But if they were like doing it for serious, then he would have been a different story. But you want to kill the dude. Anyway, they successfully kidnap Celia. Things are looking great. The episode's over. Oh, it's the end of the season. Cool, we're done. I did want to say the fight with Alfred fucking kicked ass. It's the best fight scene in the show, I think. It is really well animated, really excellently done. I was very impressed with it. So I think that fight scene was cool. I believe it is on YouTube on the Comedy Central. Oh, no, sorry, Comedy Central. The Crunchyroll collection account, I believe, has that. So if you want to check that out, if you're just looking for a cool anime fight scene, it's short. I wish it was a longer fight, but it's good. All right, so we're just gonna do. We need. No, that can't be true. It's impossible. Call Me Maybe is 10 years old today. Yes, Lashbrook. Call Me Baby is old enough that there are people who don't know what that song is, and it's not because they're out of the loop about pop culture. It's because it was popular when they were not paying attention to music because they were children. There are 20-year-olds who were not exposed because when they were 10 and 11 and 12, they weren't listening to fucking pop music. So they don't know that song kicks ass because it is 10 years old. The troll face turned 13 yesterday. Well, there you go. Maybe those people have heard Emotion and then went back to hear Call Me Maybe, but yeah, they probably don't know. Anyway, the end of this episode, Um, Aisha just like feels something is happening. Hey, so this show has characters who have reincarnated that were from Japan. Guess what? It also has. It also has fucking summoning because three people from Japan get transferred through some sort of means. We don't know exactly how it happened, and they're about to be kidnapped, and they are saved by Ryo. And one of them is Miharu, who was the girl that Haruto, the Japanese guy that died and got reincarnated in Ryo, that was his childhood friend. And now she's in fucking Japan. And I had assumed that she had died and became Aisha, the spirit, because she's so tied to Haruto. I had just assumed that's who that was, but apparently not, because she's now there, because she had like disappeared or something. So I had assumed that's who it was, but I guess not. I don't know what's happening, but anyway, that girl is now she got summoned isekai'd. And that is how that show, the first season of Seirei Gensouki Spirit Chronicles, ends. I don't know if there's going to be a second season. Cannot tell you if that is the case. I don't believe one got announced. I don't know. I don't think it did particularly great in Japan. I think it is totally fine. I'll talk more about it on Wednesday, I'm sure. I think it is, of the many isekai that came out this season, I think it's pretty good. It's better than a lot of them, but I wouldn't like stake a claim on it being like incredible. Um, I think there's not enough action in it. I think there's too much of time dashes and Ryo traveling around. I will appreciate this. This show wants to have a collection of ladies who all love Ryo, and it does have that, but it doesn't have them like hang out with him. He is most of the time hanging out by himself. So there are just like there are places across the globe in two neighboring countries that just have like ladies who think he's great that hang out. Um, and I think that is interesting way to handle uh, the harem aspect of it. Um, and then I want to talk a little bit about the honor at Magic High School. So there's an anime. It's a manga as well. I'm sure it's a light novel called The Irregular at Magic High School. The first season was on Crunchyroll, and then eventually came to Funimation. Funimation has the second season of The Irregular at Magic High School. It is about a dude dude was in the military in Japan, secret operations. He's like he's the best magician because of science and some definite not cool shit. And he is the guardian of his sister as they're going to high school, because they're like secretly part of this, like they're trying not to have people know they're part of this like very important family, and there are other very important families of different clans that deal with stuff in the country. It's a big deal. And then there's some plots, stuff happens, and lots of fights and many fun, like way too good for the show. Great minor characters, really fun cast in the show. I think the uniforms, they're some of my favorite high school uniforms in a weird magical school realm. I just think they just look really cool and are fun, fun designs. The big problem with the Irregular Magic High School, which is also in The Honor at Magic High School, which focuses on the main character's sister, Miyuki, is that Miyuki is fucking 100% totally and completely not at any way hindered and hidden in love with her brother. And it's not that Japanese thing where it's like, oh, it's your cousin, but like not really your cousin, or oh, it's your relative, but like actually you're not blood related. It's just like, no, these people are related to each other and clearly in love, and it's weird as fucking hell that that is a plot point that they kept when they adapted it into an anime. That they were like, nope, this is integral to the story, is how much in love these characters are. We gotta be able to talk about that to make this anime. So just know that it's got some cool action and interesting characters, and also is fucking weird as hell. Um, and then, so it's basically is retelling the events of the first season with a focus on Miyuki and some of the other minor characters. Basically, it's like, well, what's she doing when he's off like doing stuff on his own? Well, she's getting involved in other things, and she's involved in some other stuff, and we're going to see like events that took place that we saw in the first season of it. Um, and it does fill in a lot of gaps, and it's fun in that way. It's bizarre that it exists. I didn't watch all of it because at a certain point, it's just like I I can't, like, I just can't anymore. Like, no, I'm good, thanks, but no thanks. Why is this like this? Why does this continue to be a show? What am I doing watching this? So that's The Honor at Magic High School. Uh, if you really liked the first season, or if you were like the second season, and of the irregular at Magic High School, and you can't get enough of these characters, you could watch that. Also, they made a movie. There's also a movie. I don't know if it's. I can't remember if it's canon or not. I don't think it is. But there's also a movie for this thing, uh, and it's so bizarre that it is a popular franchise, like popular enough that they made like a sequel. The first season is a double length, and then they made a second season, and then also that people are just like, "Yep, this is going to be a thing. This is going to keep being a property." So anyway, that's my review of The Honor at Magic High School, which is also a bad name because they mean like the honor student, but they don't call it that because it's the irregular at Magic High School, so they call this the honor. So, you get it, but like it doesn't, it works in that they're trying to like show the other side of it, but it doesn't work because it doesn't, the honor at Magic High School doesn't make sense as a sentence. So it's bad in that case. Anyway, that I talked too much about that show. I'll talk very little about it on Wednesday, other than explain that. Um, let's talk about some manga. I gotta get the note thing here for that. Gotta get my command. Uh, read a few things. A couple of them I only read a little bit, and I actually like. I'm a little meh on some of these, but I thought like, I could talk about them. At least one of them I think is actually pretty neat and a good idea for a manga. I think the first one I'm going to talk about here is actually genuinely a really strong, fun idea for a manga series, which is The Strongest Gatekeeper. So it starts off kind of like dime a dozen. You've heard this before. You're gonna hear it again, right? Stop me if you heard this before. Don't stop me. Don't stop me if you heard this before. A dude in a high-ranking party gets kicked out of the party because they don't understand how vital and necessary he is. In this case, he's the tank, and he aggroes all the enemies. He doesn't attack. He just defends, and he pulls aggro, and does a great job of it. But the team has been focusing lately on, like, the thing they're known for is how much damage they do. And so they're constantly mad that he's never attacking. So eventually they're like, you're kicked out. And he's like, I've been doing this for a long time. I don't want to try to find another team. And he asks like the guild master or the guild receptionist, like, hey, do you know like mercenary work or something else I can do? I don't want to do this anymore. Like guard work, what do you got for me? Do you have any ideas? I want to get out of the adventuring. Because he's soured on the whole thing. And she's like, Do you want to be a guard in a neighboring city? They need people. Uh, you can be a gatekeeper. You know, you check IDs and you check merchants that are coming through. And eventually you might do patrols. And he's like, I can do that. Turns out that our dude is very fucking good at that shit. He's very good at, oh, there's corruption, and it's very clear there's corruption. And oh, the corruption there was trying to take on him and take him out. That's not going to work. Because he's very strong and very good. And then so he's getting more work for that, and then he like gets a promotion. And then they're like, "You're going to be in charge of a certain squad." And he's like, "Okay," and he's like, and finds out they're all misfits. Of course they are. Um, they're the misfit squad. There's the drinker, and then there's the kind of like very ditzy character, and then there's the one who's like doesn't let people get close to her and doesn't talk too much and doesn't. And it's like, first of all, how are all these people still? Why didn't they get fired? What's going on? What's happening? But anyway, through expecting a lot from them and proving to them how strong he is, how dedicated he is, uh, he wins them over, and they become a crack team. And where I left off, uh, they just basically on their own held off an entire invasion of the undead, uh, and did a great job of doing of it while they did it. And I'm going to keep reading it. I want to read more. I want to read more. The Strongest Gatekeeper. It's so much better to me than the assassin who ended up working at the guild, because that is a manga that I was like, I just love the idea of the guy who's like a great adventurer that then finds like another line of work, like a better line of work for their skills. I just think that's such a fun premise. And then it turns out that that premise is like, yeah, it like actually works out really well. I think is great. Um, yeah, and I think that's that. That's the Strongest Gatekeeper. Then we've got another strongest, the Strongest Dull Prince, Secret Battle for the Throne, which is another like trash prince kind of like person who it's not a reincarnation as far as I can tell. Later find out how he's so overpowered is the, I'm not going to spoil that because it's actually incredible if you're reading it, finding out how he knows these like ancient incredibly powerful magics and like who taught him. I think it's like totally worth finding out in the story because I was just like, wait, what's happening, what's going on. Anyway, um this is a story about, yeah, he's a twin brother. He's like eighth in line to be king, the next king. So he's just like, I'm never going to be king. My twin brother rules. I'm lazy. I'm going to support him and it'll be fine. But anyway, the crown prince dies mysteriously, clearly murdered. And now there is a war for succession because now suddenly people who are like, I should be the next, king. Um, and whereas he and his brother and their mom had a good reputation with the guy they thought was going to be king, the first prince, now they're like, well, there's a war from this, which means that there are certain people that win. If they win, we would have to flee because whoever becomes the next king or emperor is probably going to, like, most of them are going to take out all the other people. And there's like there's like their sister that they really like, and so they want to look out for them too. So anyway, our dude's like, I'm not going to become king, but I'm going to help from the shadows, help my brother, my twin, do that. And there's of course a lady that believes in him, that is like beautiful, and he's got a cool butler, and also because he's so great and he doesn't want to be, for those responsibilities he does, but he wants to focus on being a a cool badass. He's got a secret identity so he can be an adventurer, which comes in handy for when he needs to get stuff done. Um, it's pretty okay. I would call it decent. The strongest dull princes Secret Battle for the Throne. I would classify that as a decent story, and pretty good. Not super far into it, but I liked what I watched. Um, okay, I got to put one more piece on here, and then we could do some panel lining on this one. E11, and then we'll do the right arm and the left arm there, but we'll get these pieces on first. This is H. That's not E. Here's E11 is. Ooh, this dark color. Lovely. Okay, the next anime I want to talk, or manga is after leaving the A rank party, I aim for the deepest. Try to take that one more time. Here we go. After leaving the A rank party, I aim for the deep part of the labyrinth with my former students. This is, I talked about how like the tank one was a little different. This is your typical. Dude is a red mage. He is a support character. And he was picking up the slack. So he like knows how much things cost, and he negotiates with the guild, and he arranges for transport, and he does all those other things. But also his party doesn't like, they're just like, oh, you're just like standing around and you don't do anything. They don't understand that they're strong because of him, or that monsters are warded off because of him, or that like, he's got health potions that he spends his own money on, or mana recovery potions, so the healer doesn't run out of mana, and he literally knows when, like, he counts the spells, so he knows when they're low on mana. And they don't realize all that. Of course they don't, because they need to not realize that. And so he's like, I'm out of here. You want me gone? I'm gone. So it's not like the twist on this one. I think that makes it a little different is that at some point, when in downtime, not too long before that, he was helping out train adventurers, like the basics, and there was a trio of people that are like, they call him sensei, that like really, he's like, no, you don't understand, you helped us out a lot. And of course his confidence is real shot because of his experience, so it's kind of nice. And they're like, hey, come out on an adventure with us. Having a support will be great because we don't have that. We would love to have your help. And they're great. They're young, they're up and coming. They're not, they don't, they haven't done a ton of stuff, but turns out they all work well together. And they're like, hey, why don't we form a unit together? Like, let's form a team. Let's go out there and make it happen. And he joins, and they're like, you're going to be our leader because you have a lot of experience. Also, he's a red mage, which means that he can add in other classes. So he has like all of the basic classes. So turns out our dude is incredibly strong. He like can tank a bunch of stuff and one-shot a bunch of things that he shouldn't be. And he can use healing magic, and he can use practical magic, and he can, and he's got an item, he's got the inventory and all kinds of stuff because he learned all this stuff to be more useful. And he is incredibly overpowered because of that. So yeah, it's kind of cute, kind of sweet. I'm enjoying it. Like I said, it's pretty boilerplate in that it's that story of dude didn't have people who realized, who were grateful to him, and realized how much he was helping them with, and now they're lost without him. He finds people that do appreciate and understand. And I think it's great. I'm into it. Red mages are a good class in video games anyway, and this is accurate. Yes, so it is very accurate to that. It's great to have on the team. It's not a flashy class, but it's very important, and a good red mage can be a jack of all trades, and really fill out a team. So yeah, it's a lovely little series. I like it a lot. Here's one. I want to talk about this because I haven't talked about this kind of show or this kind of series in a little bit. Content warning. This one's uh, horny. This one is very horny. Uh, and not like, oh, look at all these characters, it's a harem. Like, no, this one is, oh, look at these characters. Oh, they're having sex with the main character. Okay. So that is just a thing to know that this series is horny. That Yuru Fuwa is a horny series. It is aware that it's horny, and there's nothing wrong with being that, but it is good to know. Um, so uh, basically, uh, hey, what's up, Thick Gunpla? Hello. But the thing that's better than a red mage is anyone who has played a Final Fantasy probably knows about the Chocobo. Yes, I mean totally. Um, so anyway, hey, we're gonna talk about Yuru Fuwa. Uh, oh, the red Chocobo from Final Fantasy Tactics. I do know what you're talking about. You are not wrong. Excuse me. Anyway, Yuru Fuwa is classic story. Uh, a group of people get summoned. You know, they're all summoned, and um, and everyone gets attack skills, and they're nobody knows each other. One of the dudes is a little older. He's our main character. He's a little older than the rest, but then nobody knows quite what's going on. They got attack powers. They're all going to go hiking uh, uh, from the capital to another place to uh, to get training and learn how to use their powers. Our main character doesn't get anything like super important as far as attack skills, but he does get agricultural skills that basically he can just grow whatever the fuck he wants, and he can grow a lot of it very fast. And you're like, well, if you're defeating a demon lord, that's not great. But I don't know. What if you have a country with people who are hungry? Wouldn't it be nice to have that, dude? Anyway, the other people that get summoned with him, they're like, we don't want to have to protect this guy. We don't owe him anything. So they abandon him. They just literally abandon him. And he's like, well, I guess I'm going to uh, like make some fields. Also, here's the thing that they didn't know and he didn't know. So I will say it's not their fault that they didn't realize this because he has incredible agricultural skills. Uh, if he is using a gardening tool like a hoe, it's a weapon, and he can defeat monsters in one hit with a hoe because of his agricultural skills. Because that shouldn't be the case, but it is because he has an incredible cheat. Uh, they didn't bother to find that shit out, and now they got to suffer for that, which is very funny. Um, anyway, um, he quickly builds a happy home. He meets some tiny, like they call them pocket rabbits. They're tiny rabbit ladies, and they're like helping him out. They go hunting so that he has meat in exchange for the carrots that he grows because he grows incredible carrots. Uh, yes, it does. Web Fox, it totally does. I'm going to allow that. That yes, that hoe slaps back. It does. Anyway, uh, the rabbits have a queen who is people sized, and she is very happy. As I said, this has adult scenes that are not meant like it is not. It is not. I wouldn't call this like. I would call it etchy more than I would call it like adult, like 18 plus. But we know as readers that they have fun. Um, and then there's a demon lady who shows up because it smells real good. She smells good food and she's lost, and her powers have been taken away from her. She is a succubus, and then she has some garlic in the food, and she's just like, my powers have been restored somewhat. Please help me restore the rest of them. And a recurring, I guess it's a joke, a recurring theme in Yuru Fuwa is that a character is like, you don't want to? And he goes, it's just like his face gets all serious. He's like, I would never say that. Uh, and then, yeah, so then there's a new character that moves in, and things are going great. I think when I left off, there was a fox that was cheating them out of money, uh, and that got quote unquote, fixed. That problem got solved. Um, it is. I don't want to say it's good. Um, I do. I am tired of, kind of tired of the subgenre thing where they're like a character just has no concept that people are real into him uh, at all and never suspects it at any point in their lives that they might be people might be interested in them. Uh, I'm a little tired of that. So I do like that he's just like he's aware, he gets it. So anyway, I don't think that Yuru Fuwa is good, but it's certainly like fine. And like I said, I want to talk about something like that. It's a little different than it's still an action. It's still an isekai. It's still an action series with somewhat, but it's mostly just like I'm making food and having people hang out with me and defeating big monsters along the way because his team are incredible because he has an incredibly strong, succubus demon, and also a. So that was 22, which is the thumb, and also a the queen of the. And someone calls them savage, which I think is awful, but savage uh, rabbits, and he's just like they're really nice. I don't know what you're talking about, because like, oh, you make you grow really good carrots. Of course they're nice to you. But yeah, like I said, I don't think it's great, but I do think it's like kind of interesting. Um, and also the subgenre of like, dude goes to another world and ends up having a lot of sex with fantasy characters. That often is not cool. It's often like tied up in revenge and kind of like not great fantasy shit, bad tropes. So this does not have that, and that is nice. Yeah, they're just into him. It's like cool, okay. And that is the manga I'm reading. I think I can check my manga list here and see if there's what I'm going to be checking out soon, or what I checked out and didn't want to talk about today, because that also happens. So let me just get my manga list up. Manga list. There it is. Uh, I got some suggestions of stuff to read, and I'm definitely gonna try to read at least one of those that I got because I do like to see what people are suggesting. Um, get this hand up. Where's this go? C12. I think I got the wrong. No, that's C11. Yeah, I did put the wrong one on there. Okay. Um, second time for another world summoning, which I think is a fun idea. A dude got summoned, saved the world, um, but brought peace to the world. But then the king was like, "You're too powerful," forced him to go back home, and for some reason, instead of like somehow in the transfer back, he died, so he was reincarnated, and then his class gets summoned back to the same place because the king is now going to wage a war against other human kingdoms, and he's like, but people don't recognize him because he had been reborn, but he's back in the same world. So now he's like, well, I'm going to actually fix the conflict that's happening here. So he just basically goes out on his own journey. I think that is a fun premise. I like the idea of I've been summoned. I'm back. That like, because most of these very rarely do isekais end with and then they went back to Earth and it was cool. Most of the time it's like you can't ever go home. So that's kind of interesting idea. I might check that. I think I'm going to check that one out. Um, let's see. What am I going to read? Oh, I've just started reading. I just started reading like today. The merchant hero takes control of another world, which is similar to the one I talked about today about the agriculture, except it is not as horny, at least right now. It is not explicitly horny. The premise of this one is, or that one that I just started is, uh, dude gets summoned, and his skill is cultivation. His twist is anything he plants, he can grow. Of course, the king doesn't know that. Now, this one I think is interesting because the king is like, uh, you can, hey, just make food for us. Like, yeah, we're gonna summon a different person, but just make some food for us, because obviously that's what your skill's good for. They don't realize motherfucker can grow anything, including gold coins on a vine. If he plants gold coins, he grows more gold coins. He can grow mithril swords and just have a field of mithril swords, and like everything is fine for him. He can like buy a nice shirt and then make a bunch of shirts. So it is pretty funny. Wait, could he actually grow a dumbass tree? Uh, he kicks one dude in the balls to remind him who he is. Yeah, I don't think that he can grow uh, a dumbass. Like I don't think he can grow. I mean, he can grow plants. I don't think if he buried someone, I don't think that there would be a field of people. I don't think it has not come up. In where because I've only read like 3 chapters, but um, also there's a the weapon killer. There is a young lady who I think is going to be important in the story. I assume she's young looking, but she's so strong that she breaks the weapons, any weapon she has, which I thought was a fun little premise uh, for a support character. So I don't know. I think that's one I'm definitely going to read more of because I started it today and I liked it. And then I think there's at least let's see. Oh yeah, I'll probably read. I came to another world as a jack of all trades and master of none to journey while relying on quickness, which is way too long a name. It basically, yeah. His thing is he's very good at everything. He's not great at anything, but he's very good at everything, and that is an unusual thing. Usually people specialize, which maybe that'll be good. Maybe it won't. I don't know. But anyway, you know what is good? Raiding. We're gonna go raid somebody because obviously we had a really good raid tonight from Bad Gunpla, which is awesome. And we're gonna share the love by going and raiding somebody else. I don't know who we're gonna raid right now, but we will go raid. Of course, we finished the chest. We built the head. We built one of the arms of our kit, and we will build more of it in the future. Jordan, aka RayFK, is working on the Master Grade Astray Red. Well, thank you very much. Thanks for being here, Webfox. So we're gonna go raid my buddy. He's been doing model kit stuff. It's always fun to raid a model kit builder, especially since we got raided tonight by someone. Jordan is relatively new to doing it as a streamer. Of course, he's been doing it longer as just like free time. Oh, he's body complete on it. That's great. So let's go raid him. Thanks everybody for being here tonight. I hope you have a great rest of your stream. I'm gonna go in. Sorry, I gotta put the raid command in. Looks like he's body complete, but he's got to do more work on it. But so we're gonna go raid Jordan. So well, that did not work. That did not work. Why did not work? Did he go offline? No, he didn't go offline. What? Oh, there's a dot there. I messed up. Yeah, I do this. I raid 4 times a week. You already have a raid in progress. I didn't hit the go raid button though, so that's weird. Let me refresh the dashboard. Sorry, everybody. This is a weird way to end a stream. Anyway, on Wednesday, I'm going to talk about anime for like 2 hours. So come to that. That's going to be a good stream where I talk about anime for Pat Bear's Anime Club Live, talking about the end of this season and talking about the next season. Uh, since I have a raid in progress and it didn't work, so that's a bummer. I don't know what happened, but anyway, uh, it didn't work. So the raid didn't work, and I don't know why because it already says I have a raid in progress. So I can't unraid. Let's do unhost. Oh, hmm. Unhost. Ray. Okay. Okay. I don't know what's happening. We're gonna end the stream. So it didn't work. I'm sorry about that, everybody. Uh, it says I have a raid in progress, but it's not connecting. So go check out Ray FK. Go check out Jordan. We're just gonna end the stream. I hope you all had a great time. Thanks so much for being here. As I said, Wednesday can be anime. Thursday we're gonna keep doing this kit. If you're new to the stream, thanks for being here. Appreciate you coming and hanging out. And I'll see you in the next stream. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye.